Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another tropical update here by Adrian's Weather Forecast. And in this video, we're going to be doing another update here on the North Atlantic, as we're really keeping a close eye on Invest 99L, as it is most likely going to be a very significant system here, heading later eventually up the Central American coast into portions of the Gulf of Mexico, and posing a threat for portions of Texas and Louisiana here. I mean, we're watching for potential. This thing could very well become a major hurricane here. So it's definitely very interesting here as well. We have to keep a close eye on Ambes 98L and 97L, but obviously they will most likely be out to sea storms. But again, the main threat right now is 99L for portions of Mexico, Texas, and Louisiana. Just a lot to talk about in this video here. But before we get into the video, I recommend you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon notification, and the like button so you guys can help recommend my channel towards more people so they can get the latest information as well. But without further ado, let's get to the video. So here's a look at the 5-day tropical weather outlook. So here is Invest 99L is now really increased here in the percentage for the next 48 and 5 days. So there's the 48 hours is at 50% and 5 days is at 80% here. You can see a very long description here for Invest 99L. So we have a broad area of low pressure, which is expected to form over the southwestern Caribbean Sea during the next day or so. So actually they went from basically till the weekend to now possibly within a day or so. So looks like conditions are becoming more, at least more conducive at least. And I believe we have our first, I think we do have our first, I believe we have our first ever key message for an investor. You can kind of see there is a key message within this advisory here mentioning a storm surge and as well mentioning all that here. So I think we have our first ever key message for an invest ever. So that's obviously quite interesting there. But you see, this system is expected to move northwestward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and near or across the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico on Friday and into the Gulf of Mexico this weekend, where conditions are expected to be favorable for additional development here. So obviously, there's a chance it could very well rapidly intensify, like models have been really showing here, looking at for heavy rainfall and flooding across portions of Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, Nicaragua, and Yucatan Peninsula, as the storm is going to bring in some overall a large amount of banding here as it goes and skins the coast there. And here we get to the actual key message part. You can kind of see, in addition, the system could bring dangerous impacts from storm surge, wind, and heavy rainfall to a portion of the coast of Louisiana, Texas, and the Mexican state of Tamaulipas late this weekend and early next week here. However, uncertainty remains large since the system has yet to form, so keeping a very close eye. But that's our first, I believe, our first ever key message for an invest. 80% there for the next 5 days or so for Invest 97L, and a 40% there for 48 hours. So we now have two areas of high percentage or probabilities of development within the next 5 days or so. And then we still have Invest 98L there at sitting at 20 to 30%. And there's a little bit more model guidance is actually supporting a small but brief formation here within Invest 98L. So who knows, we may get maybe Ida, Julian, and then I believe Kay's next. I think that's Kate. Correct me if I'm wrong though. So that'd be, and all three of these were to form. Obviously, two is really likely at this point. So looks like it'd be Ida 99, and then Julian would be 98 or 97, and then 98L. If it were to form briefly, it will be, I believe, letter K. So we're gonna obviously start getting extremely active if this were all to form. So let's take a look here at satellite imagery here for Invest 99L. And here's a look at the actual low pressure, which is basically on the edge here, basically right here, anywhere from 77 degrees west to a portion there near 14-ish degrees north. There you see a good amount of convection within the actual low pressure itself here, with a lot more initiation and deeper convection in storms just towards the northeast here. But overall, it's not looking too shabby at all. And it's definitely starting to get its act together as it goes into a more conducive environment as well, a little bit further from that tut to the north. So again, there's the actual placement of low pressure as of again, this is as of 18Z here, so you can kind of see around 77 degrees west, like I mentioned, and within around 14-ish degrees north. I think at this point a little bit further north since it was actually updated. But overall, we kind of have a general area that it's deep in the southwest Caribbean. Let's get a look at the actual model intensity guidance here, and they have really relaxed a little bit here. However, like I did say, I do think there is a chance we could very well get a hurricane with this, and potentially even a major hurricane. There's been a lot of consistency within the past few days within GFS, European, CMC, Icon, and of course the H4 within a large and potential extreme rapid intensification here within portions of the Gulf of Mexico. So it's going to stay rather at a gradual development as it stays in the Western Caribbean. But once it actually goes past Yucatan into the I guess the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to just go absolutely crazy with the extremely deep ocean heat content, very warm SSTs, and overall very a lot more of a conducive environment to say the least here. And we'll get into deeper depth within that later on. But models going to have this form within the next 12 hours or so. So we have to keep a very close eye on whether we can see a tropical storm form as early within the next 12 hours or so. As it starts to go, obviously going to start now going a little bit more towards the northwest here. It's kind of done going due west or so. But you can see the majority of the models when I have it really kind of going to overall positive slope there with the intensification here. So overall, looking at overall maybe strong tropical storm, and I think we can easily get a category 1. And who knows, a category 2 or 3 can't be ruled out the possibility here. I'm not trying to hype this storm here, but I only hype storms up when I think there's actually reason to, and there's definitely a lot of reason to hype this storm up. And obviously, as well, really watching out, this may even head for areas that got impacted by Hurricane Laura and Delta last year. Obviously, Hurricane Laura's landfall 1-year anniversary is only 2 days away. I believe it made landfall August 27th. And it's August 25th, and this is most likely to make landfall around August 30th, somewhere in Texas or Louisiana. So this could very well be very similar. It's like the Atlantic gods are, I guess, celebrating Hurricane Laura's landfall 1-year anniversary, but a little bit later here. But it's very likely due to this thing kind of getting an overall good amount of strength here, and overall as well, kind of steering from that trough and a little bit to the east there. It's gonna stay kind of a little bit more of a northwestern track here, and there's very very good probability this actually goes between Cuba and Mexico and probably makes landfall near areas near Lake Charles, maybe Beaumont, Texas. But this is the general vicinity I'm really watching out for. I mean, obviously it's a pretty big circle of uncertainty, but we have a general idea that's going to be heading into the western Gulf of Mexico, and it's not going to go anywhere like this because of strengthening, because of the trough and kind of strong ridge, which is going to prevent it from going anywhere over here and actually kind of keep it kind of going like this. So that's why the tracks are kind of like that. I think the 18Z models are a little bit further south than what the 0Z models would look like. So I wouldn't, I'm really interested to see what the 0Z tracks are going to be showing for 99L. Here as well, since there's really so much uncertainty within tracks, I'm actually showing a little bit more models. And these are kind of showing a little bit further towards Louisiana as well. We have a few more kind of getting between Yucatan and Cuba and heading to air near Lake Charles and obviously near Cameron, Louisiana, which just got absolutely hammered, sadly and unfortunately last year by Laura and Delta. Here, look at the overall GEPS tracks and minimal central pressure. And you can see a ton of models are getting the sub 970 millibars as it gets close to landfall. And I believe we even have one getting it sub 950 millibars. So, I mean, there's really a ton of aggressive models and aggressive numbers we're seeing. So I wouldn't say laid out, but definitely it's not like it's really close from now from landfall. It's basically maybe 5 days from landfall if it were to stay how it is for Texas or Louisiana. But I mean, this is absolutely crazy how they're really getting sub 950 millibars. I mean, this is absolutely mental. So the overall mean is the overall black line is the mean of the tracks here. So really watching out for kind of going near Cameron, Louisiana, and Lake Charles. You see a little bit different towards what we just looked at on Tropical Tidbits, and that's why I'm kind of really thinking that overall, I think the 18Z runs are a little bit lower and a little bit further southward, because obviously as we continue to go on, the models are just going stronger and stronger and stronger. I thought the 0Z and 6Z of GFS was bad, but oh my gosh, the 18Z or the 12Z GFS is absolutely crazy. The Icon is just loading in right now. The CMC is pretty crazy. The H4 is obviously crazy. So overall, really watching out those. So we can kind of anywhere from really, I guess I'd say maybe Corpus Christi to Brownsville to maybe areas near like Morgan City, Louisiana. So we're really watching out for. Let's take a look here at the overall look at Invest 97L. Again, still pretty open. It's really not even really a wave at this point. It's just overall an area of disturbance and scattered thunderstorms across an area of low. So basically the low pressure is basically within the general vicinity here on the very western edge of all that convection. You kind of see a little bit of burst there, and that's exactly where that low pressure is, basically within around 56-ish degrees north and around anywhere from maybe 27 degrees or sorry 50 oh my gosh, I completely messed it up. 5 degrees west and around 27 degrees north there. So that's where we're seeing that low pressure again, still pretty open. Still a decent amount of change to the eastern side though, but overall it's really lopsided and obviously not the best looking system. So it probably won't form until after 99L, and who knows even if 98L will form. Who knows? But here's the overall track again. It's going to take a really sharp northeast turn quite quickly because of that Canadian ridge steering it and pushing it, preventing it from going further northwestward. And here's a look at the overall intensity guidance, and we still have a majority actually keeping it at a Category 1. So I think there's still a chance this could become a brief hurricane based on the overall condition and how it's really not gotten to act together, and it's delaying its potential time for it getting back together. I think there's a chance it may stay as a tropical storm. Who knows, though? I think it could still become a rather strong storm, maybe anywhere from 70 to 80 miles an hour. Who knows? It could very well still become a hurricane, but just keeping a very, very close eye on the future intensity. And here's now a look here at Invest 98L. And you kind of see an area of low kind of within the general vicinity, kind of around right here. So it's where that general low pressure is really, again, really not open. A lot of that actual initiation is kind of a little bit to the north, within a little band right there. But again, it's really open, and again, it's not the best looking either. Obviously, 99L looks a lot better than all of these. So here's a look here at the overall 18Z track. So start going kind of west-northwest as it's been going for a while, and then get steered all the way to a very sharp due north turn. And that's going to be the big factor to its depth here. That's going to be going straight due north here into a very unstable or a very unconducive environment there. It's obviously going to be the reason why there's still a chance and still a debate whether it'll form or not. Here's still look at the intensity guidance. We have a majority actually still having it become a tropical storm. So overall, since the models have really not given up on yet, I think there's still a lot of things that we have to keep our eyes still within this quite a bit here. But models are having this form as early as 12 hours, which I really, really doubt, and as late as maybe let's see here, as late as like 5 days. So there's really a ton of uncertainty where it's going to form, when it's going to form, even if it does form. So that's why we're still quite uncertain there with 98L. So let's take a look at the overall symbols here and what they have so far as of 12Z here. So here's a look at the overall. There's a little pressure there for 99L, and there's 98L. Actually, you see a ton of malls are no longer actually, not a single one is actually picking up here within the next 30 hours or so on 97L, because its overall conditions are really diminishing, and it really most likely will not form for a while here. I mean, we're talking maybe 3, maybe 4 days here. I mean, it's really not a conducive environment right now. Here's looking at now within the next 66 hours, and there you see, starting to see a little greens and yellows pop up here within the track of 99L, showing anywhere from probably maybe 40 knots to anywhere from 60 knots. So overall, keep a close eye on that. And there you see 98L has really been picked up a lot more by symbols today than yesterday, and that's why there is still a chance this could very well form, become a very brief tropical storm before it actually goes into that northeast turn there. Oops, I accidentally, I don't know what I just did, guys. I think I accidentally, just messed up my screen there. So I do apologize for that. I really apologize for that. I'm not sure how that looked for you guys. I don't know what I did with my screen. I'm using Bandicam, right? And I have my square typically, and the square just disappeared. But it was still recording, so I had to fix it. So I do apologize. I don't know how that looked for you guys. I don't know what happened. But basically, here's a look here at a ton of more models are actually picking up on 98L here within the MDR than yesterday. Actually, only a few, like 3 or 4, were picking up on it yesterday. And we have a ton. And there you see, then it goes into that northern turn. But look at all these colors we're starting to see here as 99L, soon to be Ida, goes into the Gulf of Mexico. They're seeing already some yellow still, maybe getting closer to some oranges. You see overall a ton of uncertainty within the actual track, though some going as far south as the northern bay of Campeche, and some getting it as far north as literally near where Margot supposedly almost made landfall last year. But there again, we're really we have a lot to talk about. You can kind of see a pretty big triangle of areas we're trying to track here. But there you see, I mean, everything's happening with such a similar time. You see 102 hours, you see finally it looks like 97L is going to get act together. So does So does 98L, and so does 99L. So they all kind of start to get its act together at the same time. So it's gonna be really hard to kind of point out all three of them at the same time. But really looking at here 99L, we have a ton of lows actually getting it as far east as New Orleans, and some models getting as far south there as Brownsville, near where Hannah made a landfall last July. Yes, 2020 July, not 2021 July. But there's that kind of that northern turn here. But overall, I still have not too much confidence within 98L. And there you see 97L probably won't form until really probably Sunday. So it's going to really delay its landfall. So it's probably certain that we're going to be seeing Ida within 99L. So here's another look at the overall ocean SSTs here for the North Atlantic, and you can kind of see obviously the most attractive water for a tropical storm or system out of all three of these is obviously going to be 99L, as it's going to be really kind of be as it goes northwestward and not touching Central America. It's going to be a ton of water time here within waters within 28.5 to 29 degrees Celsius. And let's say it actually maybe skins Yucatan, really doesn't make landfall. That's obviously going to mean it hasn't touched land at all. So that means it would not have made landfall anywhere until Texas or Louisiana, depending where it actually goes. So if that were to happen, we're talking probably about a significant storm. If that were to happen, then we're kind of more talking maybe Louisiana than Texas. But you can kind of see, look at these really, I mean, extremely warm waters here in the Atlantic. 31.9 degrees Celsius off the coast of Louisiana. And that's kind of more towards the eastern side. I get that, but let me go through a little thinner arrow since the other one was really too thick. But you can kind of see, let's say it kind of goes like that. That's going to be really a ton of extremely warm water, very deep ocean heat content, maybe like over 120 meters there with 80 plus degree Fahrenheit waters. I mean, this is going to really create a monster if it does not make landfall on Yucatan or anywhere, and it kind of moves in as a high-end tropical storm, especially if it forms as early within the next 18-ish hours or even 12 hours, and it continues to stay over the waters. This could very well become a major hurricane. And so far, I mean, obviously our last hurricane or major hurricane was obviously Grace. I still forgot about Grace being a major hurricane. I was about to say this would be our first major hurricane, but obviously Grace was our first major hurricane. Let's now look at the actual ocean heat content though, and we're seeing obviously a really big spike starting to pop up here across ocean heat content and the severity of it near the western Gulf of Mexico. Starting to get numbers of over 120 meters here, and yesterday it was less than that. We didn't see any oranges, but now we're starting to see oranges pop up here. And again, it really has until still has 4 days before it actually moves in this area here. So I mean, this ocean heat content, believe it or not, could very well really increase within 4 days, especially if the rate is really warming up. As well, really go to ocean heat content across the Western Caribbean. So if it were to again do what I think it could do, or it might do, and does this, it's going to be definitely a major hurricane. I hate to say that. I feel like I sound like a overcaster, but you gotta think about it. I mean, you're gonna see better conditions later in the video here. It's not just water and ocean heat content that obviously strengthens storms. There's obviously shear and all that stuff, and that all as well kind of matches up within strengthening. So you can kind of see, if let's say it does that. I mean, if it does that, we are talking about like no land interaction with extremely deep ocean heat content for hundreds and maybe almost 1,000 miles where it is now to the landfall. So overall, I think this could very well become a significant storm. So here's a look here at the 12Z GFS, and here's a look here what they have within the next 54 hours or so. So there you see Invest 99L now at 1,006 millibars, pretty far into the Western Caribbean, not as close as Mexico and overall Belize and Honduras and Nicaragua than the first early runs there. And then as well, look at the GFS, like I did say, they're kind of a little bit more trending towards maybe a very, very brief time period for 98L to form. It may become a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm. Who knows? It could very well be rather weak. But they have it at 1,003 millibars here within 66 hours. Obviously, 97L basically falls apart here, and it really won't have a conducive environment until it goes towards that northeast turn because of the Canadian ridge. But again, it's not looking good at all right now. And then within 66 hours, 1,007 millibars there for potential Ida there. And then it really gets to 1,004 millibars. See, the GFS does not have it actually touching Yucatan And look at the GFS here, getting maybe a decent storm there within, again, 98L. Definitely very interesting as it goes northward. Like I said, once it goes northward, it's going to go to the death trap as there's this really, I mean, I wouldn't call it a strong ridge, actually a rather weak ridge, but it's going to be seeing a lot of dry air coming from the SAL toward the northeastern as well overall. Really just, as well a lot of shear especially. So it's going to get just wiped out as it goes northward. And then we have again within the next 102 hours or so, that's when we're going to start seeing 97L get its act together. You see there it is, start to pop up again. And then look at the absolute monster the GFS has brewing in the Gulf of Mexico there for Ida. I mean, 945 millibars, 939 millibars, 935. I don't remember the last time I've seen the GFS get as low as 935 millibars. That's typically something I'd see with the H Wharf and the H Mon, and as well the NAM 3 kilometer, but not the GFS days out. I mean, I don't remember the last time I've actually seen that. Maybe there's been this year, but I doubt. I think I would have known if it was this year. There's been one that low. That was a GFS, obviously. And even if I mean, even with Grace, they didn't have it get that low. I think they only had to get like as low as like 965, 964. But I mean, absolute monster. But you see, the GFS really does not actually have 97L even forming here, and they've typically have been going really on a downtrend. So obviously, it looks like the two ridges will really just kill it instead of help it. But I mean, that's an absolute monster. The GFS models have. Let me go zoom in a little bit closer before I actually go into other models than the GFS. But just look at that thing. I mean, look at the GFS, 933 millibars heading for Louisiana. Again, this would be very close to the 1 year anniversary to Laura, and it looks like it's gonna be heading towards a very similar region here. Maybe not be the exact, but very similar region, especially really similar date. Here, look at the CMC here in the next 24 hours. There you have the little trough right there, and the little wave there from 99L. There's 98L, and there's 97L. Surprisingly, looks like a little scatter showers. I mean, 97L just does not look great at all. Here's the CMC here. They really don't have, I guess, formation per se, like GFS is doing for 98L, but they really want to have as well a pretty brewing storm there for Ida in the Gulf of Mexico. They're at 986 millibar landfall there. But I mean, as well, the European's pretty aggressive. Let's go to the Icon as well. This is actually the new 18Z Icon. I've actually not seen what they've said so far. This is actually my first look at the Icon. So they actually have within the next 36 hours or so 1,012 millibars there for 97L, 98L is at 1,009, and 1,008 there for a 900 for 99L. So again, they really as well do not have the GFS kind of really forming what's it called 98L, but they as well they actually continue to form here 97L there. They actually have it getting it pretty low there, 990s. So we're gonna keep a close eye on 97 and 98L. And look, within 102 hours already, the Icon already has 990 millibars. Let me actually show you guys what 12Z show for the Icon. Obviously, 12Z goes to 180 hours out for the Icon as well. And you kind of see they really, actually, the Icon was really actually doing a kind of a 12Z GFS here, getting maybe a small chance for formation with the 98L there. They still have formation there with 97L, but look what they showed for Ida there, 963, maybe 962. And for the Icon that shows something that low, then you know it's really serious here. I'm looking at 961 millibars. The Icon is probably one of the most Malta underestimate storms yet. They are showing an absolute monster within this, so I think it's definitely concerning once they start jumping on it. H Wharf as well, taking this kind of maybe just getting maybe Cancun. That really shouldn't do much considering its speed and overall just all that. And then it goes in the Gulf of Mexico rather weak, especially if it forms within 12 hours and considering how it's going to be days within the Western Caribbean. That's considering a week. Maybe it goes into the Gulf of Mexico at 1,000, maybe 1,002. Then it just goes absolutely crazy in the Central and Western Gulf of Mexico there. And the H4 wants to have it going straight for Houston at 962 millibars. I mean, that's just absolute crazy of what the H4 really wants here. But overall, keeping a close eye on it. Let's get a look here with the GFS showing here for 10-meter winds. Obviously, they're showing an absolute monster. They kind of have it getting it within a 50-mile-an-hour time frame or area or vicinity of 50 miles an hour as it goes into the portions there of the Yucatan region. And then it just goes absolutely crazy in the western Gulf of Mexico. They're getting as strong as 100. Let's see here, 121 miles an hour It's like the 120 miles an hour is the peak here for the GFS. So getting it to a major hurricane and getting it very close to Cameron, Louisiana. There, I mean, this is definitely flashbacks towards last year. For those who remember Laura or even Delta. So again, conditions obviously as well. There's going to be really a low amount of upper level shear within the vicinity of 99L. Actually, looks like it's going to be an upper level anticyclone here, kind of spurring, or I kind of see that divergent uh, clockwise shear kind of stretching out like a flower. There's really not going to be much upper level shear though, so that really is not going to be a problem within 99L. While we look at here the other embeds too, there's going to be a little bit of upper level shear that most likely will impact the growth of 97L specifically. You can kind of see it's still 1,008 millibars experiencing within 30 to 40 knots of upper level shear. So that's obviously not going to really promote strength. So obviously, the weaker you are, like the less you can really sustain. And then obviously dryers are a pretty big threat within 97. That's exactly why the GFS is not really forming, because the Canadian ridge moves in. The Bermuda High still there, and that's always just really dry environment. But yeah, overall, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.